Warm welcome. Today's intermediate level practice is more focused on upper body. If possible, set your mat close to the wall. If you can't be close to the wall, then I will show you variation. Don't worry about it. Props, I'll be using a blanket to sit. Any blanket at home will do, which is not very slippery. And when you fold it, it's roughly this thick, just to have some height underneath to sit upright. When you are ready, we'll begin. Take a blanket underneath to sit upright. Once you are settled, bring your hands next to your hips and use them as support to sit upright. Feel free to move the buttock flesh away. Sitting bones pressing well onto the mat. Be even. Imagine as if strings attached to your shoulders and your torso is being pulled towards the ceiling. Now slowly turn towards the right, bringing your left hand on top of your right knee. I'm mirroring the pose here. And bring your right hand just behind your back onto the ground. Turn all the way through your abdomen and look towards the wall on your right. Come to the center and change. When you turn, make sure you're maintaining that hold in your back. You're upright. You're not rounding your back. Relax your jaw, relax your face. Come back to the center. One more time. Turn towards the right. And bring the back of your palms against the knee joint, or you can hold the knee with your hand. If this is going well, then bring the back of your palm against the knee. The moment you turn towards the right, see if you are leaning towards the right. Often that's the case. If so, shift the body weight towards the opposite side to be even. Relax your jaw, relax your face. When you breathe, observe where the breath is going, what area of your rib cage is being pushed. Slowly come back to the center and turn towards the left. The hand which is behind you is just for support. So it doesn't matter how close or far it is. Just make sure you are not lifting the shoulder up towards the ears. Both the shoulders are going down towards the ground and maintaining the lift in the chest. You're turning more from your abdomen, not just pressing the back shoulder more towards the wall behind. So twist is coming from your abdomen all the way through your rib cage towards your head. Slowly come back to the center. Now turn to face short front edge of your mat and bring the blanket underneath you. Straighten the legs. Come to Dandasana, staff pose. Sit upright, sit tall, just like we were in. Using hands as support, your fingers or hands, your choice. We just don't want to round the back and shorten at the front of torso. Instead, we want to lift the trunk up towards the ceiling to create the length at the front of the torso. Just have a look at the front of your torso to see if you're shortening it. If so, see if you can create a bit more length. Breathe, don't hold the breath. Lean back, release any tension or tightness, wiggle your legs, and come back forward again. This time, pay attention what areas of your body are being pressed on the mat to maintain the lift in your trunk. Your sitting bones, the back of your legs are being pressed on the mat to bring the lift. So press them well onto the mat to get that lift. As if you are pressing back of your legs so well that you're creating a bit more length, your heels are passing more towards the wall at the front. Don't hold the breath. You're building a lot of strength in your low back and your mid back as you are lifting your back from the low back. Release. Lean back. Wiggle your legs side by side. Release any tension or tightness. We are going to increase the intensity slightly in the next asana. Come back to Dandasana, staff pose. Once you are settled here, you are pressing the back of your legs well. You are lifting through your lower back up towards the ceiling. You're sitting upright. You're in the center. Torso not leaning back or forward. Raise your arms up. Bring your arms straight in line with your shoulders, going back towards your ears. Fingers leaning towards the ceiling. Relax your jaw, relax your face. Allow your toes to be relaxed. Not overstretching your fingers or toes. Release. Lean back. Wiggle your legs side by side and we'll repeat. Once more, come forward, back to Dandasana. Use your hands to sit upright. Once you are settled, raise your arms up. The moment your arms go up, make sure you are not lifting your shoulders up towards the ears along with your arms. But don't also jam your shoulders down on your back. They're slightly going down towards the ground, but you are not hardening them on your back. Bring your attention back to your hips. Press your legs well onto the ground to make sure you're sitting upright, you're sitting tall. Breathe. And gently bring your attention to the sensations in your lower back. Slowly release. Bring your hands back onto the ground. Wiggle your legs side by side. Release any tension or tightness. Come back forward. This time, bend your right leg and bring it close to your right hip. Maintain the left leg straight. Catch hold at the top of your shin with your hands. So interlock your fingers and catch hold at the top of your shin. Use the support of your hands and your leg, your foot to sit upright. Just like we did earlier, press the back of your leg well onto the mat, pressing your sitting bones well onto the mat to sit upright. Release. Change. Let's do the opposite side. Make sure your chest is lifted, inner shoulders are going away from each other, and shoulders are down. Release. Let's repeat once more. Bend your right leg and bring your right heel close to your right hip. This time, go forward. So bring your torso more towards your right knee so that you can press your right foot well onto the ground. Press it so well, strongly onto the mat, as if you are about to jump. So pressing your foot well onto the ground allows you to lift through your lower back. So try that. Come forward, press your foot well onto the ground so that you create a length through your lower back. Then, while maintaining that pressure through your right foot, catch hold at the top of your shin and sit tall, sit upright. Maintain the breath. Keep pressing your right foot well onto the ground as if you are about to stand by pressing it on the ground. Feel the length that you are creating in your lower back by pressing your foot onto the ground. Release. Straighten the leg. Change. Let's do the opposite side. Lean forward so that you can bring your body weight more onto your left foot. Once you are settled, catch hold at the top of your left shin. Then press your left foot well onto the ground. The moment you press your left foot well onto the ground, observe where the alignment of your right leg is. Make sure it's not leaning towards make sure it's not rolling in or out. It's not dull. Breathe. Release. Straighten the legs. Bring your hands on the ground. behind your hips. Doesn't matter which way your fingers are pointing, just wiggle your legs side by side. Pause, come forward and come to tabletop position. From here, we'll get into downward dog. Your shoulders, your hands are shoulder distance apart. Roughly 90-degree angle between your thighs and your torso. Torso is parallel to the ground. You're not rounding your back like this. Instead, your back is parallel to the ground and no round at the back. To, re- to reduce the round at the back, let your knees go back and widen the chest. Your knees are hip width apart and your toes are tucked in. Breathe, don't hold the breath. And while pressing your hands, lift your knees up, lift your hips up, and move them towards the wall behind. Arms are straight. Just have a look at your arms. Make sure you're not bending them inside. They are micro bent towards the outside. I repeat, your arms are not bent towards the inside through elbows. Maintain the breath. Slowly come forward, come back to tabletop position. Take a breath here and we'll repeat. Adjust the alignment. Check the alignment of your hands, your knees, and go back into downward dog. Crown of your head. Crown of your head is roughly parallel to the ground. Press all your fingers, including your thumbs, well onto the mat. Press your little finger onto the ground. Slowly come back onto the ground in tabletop position. Take a breath. Take a deep breath. Fill your lungs with air and slow exhale. When you finish, let's get back into downward dog. This time, lift your front thighs up strongly towards your hips, having that strong connection of your legs into the hips, and use that connection to move your hips back. And moving your hips back allows you to lengthen your trunk from your lower back through your mid back all the way through your head towards the ground. One long straight line, longer spine. That's what we want by moving the hips back. Maintain the breath. Slowly bring your knees back onto the ground. Come back to tabletop position. Take a breath here. From here, let's move into plank position by moving the legs back. Maintain the breath. Make sure your hips are not sinking towards the ground. Move the shoulders back. Slowly bend your legs. Come back to the tabletop position. Take a breath and we'll repeat. When you're ready, get back into tabletop position, moving the shoulders back. So your shoulders are slightly above your wrist and your hips are not going down towards the ground. Lift them up. Engage your abdomen. So slightly bring your navel in towards the spine. Bend your legs. Come back to tabletop position. Let's do a small sequence here. From tabletop, move into plank position to downward dog. Walk your legs forward Take a breath here. Then lower your right arm down towards the ground so that your forearm is on the ground. Similarly, bring your left forearm onto the ground and get into downward dog, moving your torso more towards your legs. See if you can walk here, feet more towards your head direction and torso more towards the leg direction. Now straighten your right arm first, followed by left, back into downward dog, back into plank position, wiggle your legs back, then bring your knees onto the mat, back to tabletop position. Let's take a breath here and then we'll repeat 2 more rounds of this small sequence. When you're ready to plank position, downward dog, walk your legs forward, arms straight, lower your right arm down towards the ground, lower your left forearm down onto the ground, walk your legs a bit more forward, crown of your head parallel to the mat, lift your shoulders up, shoulders not dropping towards the ground, straighten the right arm, followed by left, back to downward dog, back to plank, slide your legs back, your shoulders are above your wrist, come back to tabletop position. In the next iteration, from downward dog, when you bend your arms down towards the ground, we will bend both the arms together like this. So earlier we were bending one arm at a time. This time we'll bend both the arms together onto the ground. All right, let's try that. From tabletop, plank position, take a breath here, downward dog. Once you're settled into downward dog, bend both the arms together to bring your forearms onto the mat. Straighten both the arms together to come back into downward dog. Let's try one more time. Bend both the arms to bring your forearms onto the mat. Straighten both the arms. Back to downward dog. Back to plank position. Stay here a bit longer. Come on, use your strength. Engage your abdomen. Relax your jaw. Press your hands well onto the ground. Observe the sensations in your arms. You're stronger than you imagine. Stay here for one more breath. Come on, you can do it. We all can do it together. Slowly bend your knees. Bring them onto the mat. Get into Adho Mukha Virasana, forward Virasana. Tops of your feet onto the mat, toes pointing towards each other, and knees towards the side edges of your mat. Walk your torso between your legs, arms bent at the elbows. Bring your forehead onto the mat. Breathe. Pay attention to your breath. Do full exhale and let it followed by a deep inhale. I repeat. Do complete exhale and let it followed by deep inhale. And slow exhale under control. To experience the calmness, quietude at physiological level, you want to pay attention towards your exhale. Let it be slow and gentle. You can imagine your lungs as if they are balloons and you are deflating them on exhale very slowly. Come forward. Let's practice half headstand. If you're not sure, just have a look here. Interlocking of your fingers. Bring your hands, your forearms onto the mat. So your elbows are roughly in line with your shoulders. Open your palms. Bring the crown of your head onto the mat and back of your head touches inside of your palms. Then lift the shoulders up. Lift your knees up. Walk your legs towards your head direction and move your hips back. Once your upper body goes up, often the shoulders come down towards the ground. So press through your forearms and wrists to lift them up. And widen your shoulders out towards the sides. That means inner edges of your scapulas are going away from your spine. Slowly bend your legs. If you haven't followed some of the instructions here, that's absolutely fine. I'll quickly show you what I mean by my last instruction. Just have a look here. You're in this position, you're moving the shoulder down towards the hips. And now you're moving the inner edges of your scapulas, your shoulder blades away from each other, away from your spine, out towards the side, like this. So if I move them in, they look like this, going in. This is going away from each other. So when you are on the mat, same drill. You want to lift your shoulders up and your scapulas, inner edges of your scapulas going away from your spine. All right, let's try once more. Bring your forearms onto the mat. Head onto the mat. When you're ready, lift your knees up. Try what I just explained. Lift the shoulders up and your scapulas going away from each other, creating more space there. Slowly bend your legs. Come up and lie on your back. Let's practice variation of Jathara Parivartanasana, revolve abdominal pose. Bring your hands in line with your shoulders. Your arms are in line with your shoulders. Raise your knees, bring them over your hips, palms facing towards the ground. Once you're ready, lower your knees towards the right side of your mat. Keep looking towards the ceiling. If you want to increase the intensity of the pose, bring your right hand on top of your left knee and gently press it down. And turn more from your abdomen to turn the left side of your rib cage, back of your torso more towards the ground. Maintain the breath. Come back to the center. Turn towards the left. Pay attention to the differences between the two sides. See if there is tightness or tension. Relax your jaw, relax your face. Pay attention to the sensations you experience at the back of your legs, in your hips, in your low back, mid back. Come back to the center. Bring the soles of your feet onto the ground. Bring your arms at your sides. Bring your right leg on top of your left thigh. Right outer ankle joint on left thigh as high as possible. Right knee going away from your torso. Then slowly move your left knee towards your left chest, making sure right knee is going away from your torso. Use your right hand to press it away from your torso. Use your left hand around the side of your left leg to catch hold of your left shin to bring your left knee slightly more towards your chest. Observe the intensity of the stretch at the back of your right leg, in your glutes, in your hips, the back of your right thigh. Make sure you maintain the intensity to medium. Don't overstretch. Release and change. Bring the opposite leg on top of opposite thigh. Catch hold of your right shin and press your left knee away from your torso. And in the breath, once more pay attention to the differences in tightness in your body between the two sides. Slowly release. Straighten your legs, wiggle them side by side. Maintain your arms at your sides. We'll do short shavasana, corpse pose. Close your eyes. Any frown lines at the forehead, let them disappear. Relax your jaw. Relax your throat. Visualize that your shoulders are sinking towards the ground and you don't have any hold on them. Your arms are completely relaxed. Allow your thighs, knees to soften. Bring your attention back to your breath. Slowly bend your legs and bring your feet onto the mat. Bring your hands onto your abdomen. Turn towards the side and bring your arm underneath your head as support. Stay here for a moment before you come up. When you are ready, take support of your hand and come up. Sit in cross-leg position. Use support of your hands or your fingers beside your hips to sit tall, sit upright. Bring your hands onto your chest in prayer position, Namaskar Mudra. Use inhalation to sit tall, sit upright. Use exhalation to move your shoulders down towards the crown along with your elbows. Bring gentle smile on your face. Take this opportunity to thank yourself for being engaged in the practice to improve your strength and flexibility in your upper body. Namaste and thank you. Slowly open your eyes. Release your hands onto your thighs. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider giving a like and a comment. See you next time. Till then, be your best version.